Right, guys, this is another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew. Didn't fuck it up, bro.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
And we are Royal Blood, and this is rock music.
That was terrible, weren't it? But we'll get into that.
Yeah,
We'll get into
100%.
that.
I had to open because, look, we will discuss it at some point.
Yeah,
It's the perfect way to open for me.
yeah.
It's the perfect way.
Do it again.
We are Royal Blood, and this is rock music.
We should have had our crowns on for that, really.
We should have. I should
Yeah.
have brought the guitar.
You should have brought the guitar and just gently strum the entire
yes.
time. Just
What was really upset, I mean, we'll get into it. What was really upset about that is I actually like Royal Blood. And when they did it, I was like, oh, come on, guys. I can't support you after this.
No. And not like, and again, we'll get into it, but like, he does sound like a bit of a Tory. Like, he has quite a posh voice.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, someone did a thing.
And his name's Thatcher.
They posted a picture of the two of them from like a promo shot.
Yeah.
And they were like, these boys look like if one of those cool, hip IPA brewing companies did a band. That's what they'd be.
Yeah. Like they're somehow affiliated with Brewdog.
They are just like posh lads who fancy a bit of, fancy themselves as a bit of rough.
Yeah.
It's like, no, boys, you're posh boys.
Yeah. They definitely come across like it.
100%. Anyway.
First off,
how are you?
Like, I'm all right, bro. How about you?
First off, yes, I'm all right.
Good. Yeah. Busy man about town.
Busy man about
before
town.
we came onto the
Busy.
record.
Oh,
about all your
I
conquests.
like to brag.
Yeah. No, actually, you're always known for your humility.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I brag in a very humble way.
But we need to be not fast today, but it's a big day today. Day of recording is the FA Cup final.
Yes, we both want to watch it.
Yeah, and so it won't be as long an episode, but it's still going to be an
Can I
hour?
ask you this, which channel will you be watching it on?
I don't know how many channels.
Well,
is it
BBC ITV.
on? I guess I would have just put on BBC.
Yeah, no one ever says ITV.
No.
No.
Also, you're more likely to have better pundits. I feel like.
And also, if you've got a choice between ad breaks and
BBC.
no ad breaks, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, and like you get, I don't know. I like the people that are on the BBC. I guess not that I have anything.
Personally, if they had, I will say this:
I don't even know who's on ITV.
It wouldn't make me swap, but if Michael Richards and Roy Keane were on one of them, I probably would watch that one.
Yeah, they are good together. To be fair,
Have you seen the video of him and like Gary Neville and Roy Keane and someone else on like sitting around a kitchen table or whatever, and Michael Richards is like sort of turns around and says, "I was better than Gary," and they were like, "I don't think so," and he was like,
I think he could have been.
And he says that some stuff I was better than Gary. He says Gary was in a good team. I was playing with like, and then he name drops two nobodies or whatever.
Yeah.
And Gary goes, "Who?" And Mike is like, "Exactly." And Roy Keane goes, he says, "Yeah, but they'll be saying the same thing about you."
Yeah.
And like, fucking brutal. I love them too.
To be fair, like, I actually do think Michael Richards was a really good player, and I think he could have been one of the best.
100%. He could have been the
right-backs
best.
we've
He
had
could
in a
have been one of
long
the best
time.
player, like
He was
defenders.
just unfortunate with injuries.
He could have been one of the best defenders we had. He could play football, and he was physical,
Yeah.
and he was fast.
And also, he's such good value on television now. I do.
Yeah,
really
I'm so happy
enjoy
he's
him.
gone into punditry.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's brought a lighter side to Roy Keane, who in general has had quite
Because
a
he
bad rap
cracks.
for a
He
long
does
time.
crack with Michael
You
Richards.
can't not, can you? He's quite an infectious.
He's so infectious, yeah. Hit the skid button, my brand. Hit the skid button.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. Talking about people that are on television.
Right.
You like that?
Oh,
You
yeah,
like
that's a good
that?
segue.
You
That
like
wasn't
that?
going to be the first subject I went into.
Oh, was it not?
No, it
I
wasn't.
will segue back. We'll segue back. Turn. You hit it again. Forget television.
Okay.
Let's move on.
The reason you didn't have an episode last week, guys, was because we went somewhere. We did something.
Yes. Yes. And do you know what? I'm quite surprised. At these orgies, there's a lot of safe sex. And I promote
There was
that.
a lot of outfits.
There were loads of outfits.
There was
Oh
loads
my
of
God.
outfits.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like pervy old white man.
It's difficult, and especially when you're two white men, cisgendered and straight.
Cishet is the term I've discovered.
Is it just cis?
Cishet. It means
Cis
cis
het.
and heterosexual.
Oh,
So you
I
can be like
it.
cis
Come on,
home,
bro,
I
it
guess.
gets confusing though. Come on.
I've only just learnt this term.
It's like, I didn't know there was more letters to LGBTQ plus now.
Oh, LBGTQIAA something else.
Yeah, like, boop. Do you know what I mean?
I know my shit.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm an ally.
So what was it? Cis het. So
Cisgendered,
so there's two
heterosexual.
cis-het white men sat here. It's difficult to avoid looking like misogynists or pervy bastards. But yes, there was a lot of attractive ladies in attractive attire at these.
Living my
at the
dream.
event.
Like, didn't we say like that's the dream?
Yeah.
Is to find someone that you could go and do that thing with. You could go and do like a couple's costume or something,
Yeah,
and just go and have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we went to Comic-Con. That's what we went and did. That's
yeah,
what we went
we
and
didn't
did.
drop that,
Is
did we?
a
We're still on the
sentence?
orgies. We're still on the orgies.
Are we
Yeah,
still
we
on
went
the
to Comic Con.
orgies?
We went to Comic Con.
Yeah, which was really good. I found it.
Good company.
Yeah, we had a really good group of us, to be fair. And we pulled in a ringer at the last minute because Leanne couldn't come. So
You had to say that. I can't say that.
It's never a problem usually, I assure you.
It doesn't normally stop me.
But just she couldn't attend this event with us. So we invited a friend on who we will have on the pod at some point, definitely. And he listens to the pod, and that's Alan.
Big up.
But no, we had a really good time.
My captain.
I mean, and literally, almost arguably the best moment of the day came right at the start, didn't
Yeah,
it?
which unfortunately Alan wasn't a part of.
No. If he'd have chosen to travel with us, he would have been. Although it might not have happened, you don't know. Just
But
butterfly
it was
effect.
big dunks, wasn't it?
It was Big Al, who is a Crossing Swords Hall of Famer and the occasional sword crosser, in all ways, to my knowledge.
Comic Cons, orgies,
Yeah, listening
all
to
of
the
the
pod.
above.
Yeah, and that was was that the Tube?
That was going down to the Elizabeth line.
Yeah, we're going down to the Elizabeth line. I sort of got slightly separated from you, Ash, and Alex was slightly separated from you guys, just as we're going on the escalator down. And Al, I yelled at Al to talk to him, and I blew him a kiss. And as he leant back to look at me and do it back, his sunglasses just slipped off his head and started sliding down.
Slide down the side of the escalator.
Side of the escalator, and he just went. And this was the bit that made us laugh because he instantly knew what had happened, and he turned, and it was a good it'd been going for what felt like quite a while.
Probably about
at this
half
point,
a second or a second.
but it felt like ages. But he just yelled out, "Someone grab my glasses!"
And then he ran down the stairs and like barged through people trying to get to them, and he sort of barged through the woman that
And
had them.
Yeah, he actually ran past the woman that had them. But yeah, we were absolutely
It's
bizarre.
great. I had tears coming out
I
of my
was
eye.
trying not to be too loud because there was a dad with his little, I think his son, like right in front of me on the escalators, and I sort of like burst out very loudly at first because it was hilarious.
Because it was brilliant.
But I had to compose myself quite quickly. But when I looked further down, I just saw you like hunched over.
I genuinely, I had tears streaming down my face. I was,
and it took
found
us
it
a good
so
few.
funny.
Like we were on the train by the time we'd calmed down, weren't we?
we were pretty much getting off the train. Remember, we only probably went about 3 or 4 stops.
Yeah.
We went from like Farringdon to Custom House.
Mm.
For all you tube enthusiasts,
Yeah.
for all you train nerds.
Yeah.
Was that a bit insulting to call them train nerds?
I
mean, they are nerds.
I think if you look at the most famous one, that is it.
Francis Bourgeois, or what
That's
his
the
name
one.
is.
He's pretty nerdy, isn't he? I mean, it's harmless, wholesome content, but yeah, it's quite nerdy.
So we can call them. I can call them train
Yeah,
nerds.
I think. You
Well,
can
for all
call
our
them
train
nerdy.
nerds, we went from Farringdon to Custom House.
Nice.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, what I like about going uptown with you guys is I don't need to worry about where I'm going. I just follow, and
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get there because between the three of you, all of you are quite good at
The really
transport.
worrying thing is where if you've got 2 or 3 different options to get somewhere,
Yeah,
which
and
you often
all-
have, but like
yeah.
of a similar time,
But luckily for
and me and Ash decide that we've picked different ones. That's the danger.
that's happened famously on a night out. We
Yeah,
went to screaming.
That's the danger, because we will both just walk off.
Yeah. With zero discussion.
We will both just go, my way is the best way.
And then if
I'll
you're
see you there.
if you're the person with you and Ash, it leaves you in a very difficult situation.
Thing is, when it's just me and Ash on our own, it's fine because we both just go, either we acquiesce and just go, whatever, we'll get there because we're not in a rush.
Yeah.
Or we will just go and we'll go, all right, I'll see you there. And
Yeah.
there's absolutely no quabbling. There's no
Yeah.
arguments. There's no like, oh, I told you. It was just like,
Yeah, but you add the third person.
you just
in
go. Yeah, and
everything
then
falls
someone's got to make a
apart.
choice.
Yeah. But yeah.
Good
what,
day.
What did you expect going in?
Nothing. I had no expectations. I
Okay.
really didn't know what to expect. There were obviously apparently it's been scaled down a bit since
Okay.
COVID. Apparently
Yeah.
it's normally a bit bigger.
Really?
Apparently there's even more stalls.
Jesus Christ.
But it was nice. I think some of the. I mean, I'll tell you what, the thing that I was really blown away by more than anything was some of the artwork that was on display at some of the
There was
stalls.
some beautiful
There was
stuff.
some genuinely incredible posters, some incredible kind of like real, lifelike pictures that people had done.
Yeah.
And also there was one where someone had taken old cans, particularly like beer cans, I guess, because they're just that much bigger,
Yeah.
and turned them into like 3D kind of
I
art.
hadn't
So there
seen
was
that.
like a, I mean, I'll show you the picture. If you, there's one that was just beautiful. It was like this
Well, I remember there was one I liked.
Millennium Falcon.
There was a stall
Great.
that did like samurai themed cartoon characters. So it took like, it could be Rick and Morty, it could be Dragon Ball Z. There was all sorts of different ones.
So this is like the Star Wars,
Oh wow! No, I didn't see any of this.
and that's on the Comic Con group.
Oh, that's really
And
clever.
if you go one more to the side, can't remember which way, there's a Hulk one.
yeah. Wow,
That's like a Carlsberg Hulk.
How much was he charging for that sort of stuff?
I think it was like 30, 40 quid
That's
upward.
not bad,
But the thing
though,
is,
is
if
it?
I had the money and the space,
Yeah.
100% my house would be decked out with
The
that
thing
shit.
is, like, I didn't know what I expected. I mean, it was actually exactly what I expected, to be fair. Lots of people in cosplay, lots of stalls, food stalls, stuff to buy. The only thing that surprised me really was when you see like Comic-Con panels on YouTube and stuff like that, you don't get to see the surrounding area. So I never knew. I thought it was always in like a separate hall or a separate room.
They did have some locked off for that.
Oh, okay. I didn't see
some
those ones, but I
areas.
was amazed how many there were that were just out in the open, and there was just some
Just
seats
discussions
and everyone
going on,
could
yeah.
I found that I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I dropped in and listened on a couple sort of while waiting around for you guys.
Okay,
and
that's
stuff.
fair.
And the food.
The
Like,
food
it was
good.
expensive, but like it's fucking really good. I mean, that like cake company stand or whatever,
Yeah.
where I had like the chocolate marshmallow thing. Fuck, that was so good. I was indulgent as fuck. And the Chinese place we went to, I
Yeah,
quite
that
like
wasn't bad. I think, although I wasn't that keen on, I think it was kimchi that they put with
Yeah.
it. That was a bit odd. And then actually I was like, I don't actually like nuts on top of stuff, so I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, because that was a self-added thing. Like that,
yeah, it was
that
like,
was a
there's
choice you
optional.
made.
Do you know what I mean? That's what annoyed me.
Yeah.
So that's all my issues with it.
Well,
Well,
you
mainly my own,
self-inflicted.
apart from the kimchi thing, I didn't know about kimchi. But no, like, I actually said to Leanne, I'd like to go back,
Yeah.
but I think really you need to go for a couple of both
You
days.
need to go for the whole weekend.
Yeah,
I think as well, it's just a safe space to be nerdy. Like
100%.
you know that you're not the nerdiest person in the room, so you can kind of geek out.
Yeah, well, like one of
And
the
you're in
things
the
I
good
bought,
company for
and
it.
anyone watching on YouTube, you can see this. I bought a fake samurai sword. Yeah, but I felt really self-conscious at first at the
Walking
idea
around
of
with it.
buying one. And then I just looked around, and there was rarely a grown adult man in that room that didn't have a sword or a lightsaber or dressed up or carrying
I think that's the
something
thing that I
nerdy.
would do going back, because I think this was our first time, so I think we did the
Yeah.
right thing going on the Friday where it was a bit quieter.
Yeah,
But I would do more. I'd get more involved. You know, when they were doing like the
Yeah.
lightsaber training,
yeah, 100%.
I'd get in and have a go.
Yeah,
There was another thing going on the other side, on the other hall. Again, I'd get in and I'd
Yeah.
sort of have a go. That
Yeah.
would be my thing.
yeah, and I think
enjoy it.
I sort of regret, because I'm a big Sons of Anarchy fan, and there was a guy called Ryan Hurst.
OP.
I wish I'd have just gone over and said hello.
What stopped you?
Just shyness.
Yeah,
And
fair
like,
enough.
and like, it was ridiculous because he was wide open.
And that
there
was the
no
beautiful
one
thing
there.
about going with Alan, who was the complete opposite.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a bloke who looked exactly like the Orson Krennic
Yes.
from Rogue One. And Alan, when we were like, that guy's like, and Alan was like, oh, I want a photo. And when we saw it, he was just like, hey, mate.
Yeah. Well,
wait.
the
I'm
thing
sorry
is,
for shouting, by the way, in
No,
your ears.
but-
But he was he just shouted after him.
Yeah,
And me and Alan just chased him down.
yeah,
And then he got his picture.
yeah. He was like, yeah, of course. Like, and that's the thing that I remember reading up online beforehand. It was like most people are completely fine with taking
Just ask.
photos. Just ask beforehand. I mean, I got a couple of sneaky ones while other people had stuff
Yeah.
stopped. Like there was a guy in this huge Space Marine suit, and I was into Warhammer when I was younger. So while he was taking photos of people, I just took a cheeky. But I was like, he's already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was some really cool Doctor Who stuff that I took photos of for Leanne. So no, I think we'll definitely go back.
Yeah, the little Dalek display was badass.
But like, I gotta admit, like particularly for the first couple of hours we were there, I just felt quite overwhelmed. Not with the amount of people, it was the amount of stuff
you
going
didn't know where
on.
to go. You didn't know where to
Yeah,
look.
there was too many options. Like you walk into what is essentially like several giant like hangars. Basically, don't you? These huge warehouses of open space with just countless
Stalls set up.
and different shit going on. So it's too much to do in one day, I think. But no, it was like, what was lovely, like you said, was the zero judgment going on. All I heard from people was like, "Oh, look how amazing that!" Or, look
Like,
at, do you know what I mean? None of it was.
You know, it is a shame Leanne wasn't there, because I do think she would have I mean, not necessarily the people aspect, but I do think the nerdy aspect and stuff.
Oh,
she absolutely would have
100%,
enjoyed, and it would have been, I'm
like
hanging out.
There was these dialects you could have got into.
Yeah.
She'd have got into one of them.
Like,
and
I was just enjoying spending the day with 4 nerdy friends, geeking out.
yeah,
and
like,
Leanne would have just been at home in that.
And
Do you
what
know
was
what I mean?
lovely,
Just spending time
like
with her,
there was no
geeking out.
judgment from anyone in the group of what we were buying, what we were interested in. Like, it was nice. Me and Ash are both really into Funko Pops, so there was no like. And Ash said to me at the beginning, I'm going to do what I do, which is just walk ahead and pick somewhere to go. If you see anything you like, just yell, Ash, we're stopping, and I'll stop. And to be fair to him, that's exactly... And it was good because it meant we had someone that was just keeping us moving, but was also completely fine at being stopped every 2 seconds. So it was quite nice. And like, I went off with Alex at one point. I think I was wandering around with you at one point. Like, it was just not... And there was no... like annoyance with anyone.
Yeah, I went
like,
off with Ash at one point and off with Alan at one point.
Yeah, like there was no like weirdness. Everyone was just like, yeah, we're all just. It was all quite flexible.
Would you go back and do like a group costume?
Yeah, I
on
think
one
so.
of the
It's
days?
difficult for me because I'm much larger than everyone.
But you're
else
not
to
as
get
large
stuff.
as you were, you know.
No,
there's-
but it
there's-
is difficult to get costumes.
Yeah.
Like, they would have to be more self-made.
But we could think about it.
No, 100%.
Good.
I'm not against stuff
Good.
like that.
Cool.
And even you dressed up. You once we got.
Well, I
there,
had
you
because
got-
I was like, look, I'm going to regret it if I think,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I'd have
And
bought
we'll
it.
put it on the socials because we got a picture.
I thought I'll regret it if I don't have it. So I took it with me,
Yeah.
and it was like, right, boys, I'm going to do this because it was such
And
a
we saw
judgment
a
free
lot
zone.
of
It
you
was
in
like,
it.
yeah, I'll be honest. Walking around, it was like this because when I came out of the cubicle, and look, I don't have the world's biggest penis. I was like, let's get that out of the way. But when I walked out of the cubicle after
You wouldn't
changing,
want it on the end
I
of
looked
your
in the
nose as
mirror
well, bro.
and I was like, bro, I can see my dick. I was like, I need to readjust because there was just pure outline
There was
here.
too much to readjust.
I had to readjust. So it readjusted to like a bulge.
Yeah.
But when I came out, there was distinction.
Yeah.
You could see.
There was cock.
You could see tip. You could see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could see the lot.
And the thing is, look, I've been very honest about these things. That's where my eyes immediately go.
Here's where
So
your
the first
went.
thing I did,
The
I
first
went-
thing you did was look down.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I'm seeing a lot of you there. Well, for me, also in those situations, it just gets like the weirdness out of the way.
Now,
I've addressed it
is that a good segue?
for what?
You're looking at my crotch.
All right, inappropriate.
I don't necessarily want you to do it,
I don't know if I want to be in the same breath of the person we're about to talk to.
but is it a
talk
good
about.
segue?
It's a reasonable segue.
It's a reasonable
but as
segue.
long as you like clarify the fact I'm nothing like this person.
Charming,
Other than that,
affable. What's not to like?
I mean, their predilection for younger men.
Yes, you do prefer a younger woman.
Coming from you.
All right, mate. I've never dated anyone that young.
No, but you
have
said
spoken
what
to-
you would do
No.
to younger people.
Yeah, in a very specific scenario that was, there was a payoff, and it's not just my payoff.
You just dig a deeper hole every time I bring it up.
No, that's the great thing about young people. It remolds.
Yeah.
The hole's never that deep.
Is that when
That
you're
might
burying the body?
I might have crossed the line.
Yeah.
I might have gone too far. I found the line.
Yeah. The McCanns found the same thing, to be fair.
I ran over the line, and I can now see on the other side of the line that I did cross a line,
Yeah.
and I will bring it back.
Yeah.
Unlike the next topic.
Yeah. I mean, it's Phillip Schofield. And the thing is, before the pod, I actually checked.
This
with
is a lot
Jay.
more for UK listeners, by the way.
Yeah. But I'm sure people in other parts of the world have heard about it. It's quite big.
I don't think they have.
You don't reckon so?
Nah.
No.
When was the last time you heard of an American presenter being done up for like sexual assault or whatever?
There was a guy from Fox that was fired recently for something.
That was
he said,
partly because it was
wasn't
Fox though, because he talks a big game, and then
he? Yeah. I can't remember. Was it Tucker Carlson?
yeah, Tucker Carlson
That's
got
the one.
fired.
So no, I heard about that. But
But you don't really hear about it. But it happens, and it occupies their gossip columns.
yeah, I mean, but we heard about Bing Crosby. Is it Bing Crosby? Bill Crosby?
Bill Crosby.
Bill Crosby, not
Very
Bing
distinction,
Crosby.
yeah, very big distinction there.
Was Bing Crosby the Christmas song guy?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And Bill Crosby's the guy with the sweaters.
Yeah, that was in Jack, the film with Robin Williams.
I don't remember that film.
Oh, it's
but
such
yes.
a good film, bro. J-Lo's
Maybe.
in that film.
Yeah, because I
That's
find
a
that she
random
only
cast,
picks
isn't it?
she only picks the
J-Lo,
best projects.
Robin Williams. Why? What else has she been involved with?
Made in Manhattan.
Mate, that film's awesome.
I've never seen it.
Then you can't comment. It's
No,
got
but I just
Ray
saying.
Fiennes in
I'm
it.
just saying. Okay, again,
What?
These are actors. They
It's
just took
got.
roles.
Is it Bob Hoskins? He's in it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got a good cast, man. Have you even seen? It's got the lad from Teen Wolf in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
if
how
that
many
doesn't do
times?
it for
How
me-
many times have you seen a film like years later?
I think
and
it's
you
the lad from The Borrowers
and
as well.
You've seen you see a film
slaps.
and you're like, oh, so and so was in it. Oh, and so was in it, and so
Yeah.
and so. Like, how come I've never heard of it, bro? Just because it's got a good cast, it doesn't necessarily mean
No,
it's a
but
good
it is
movie.
also
Like,
a
let's
good
just throw
film.
it out there.
It's also a good film.
I'm not going to comment on it. I've not seen it.
You need to sit down and watch it. But then,
Do you think this is exactly what's going to happen if, like, Phillip Schofield goes to trial? They're just going to spend
up
half an hour in court
talking
talking
about
about Made in Manhattan.
I don't even know how we got there. It was Crosby. But yeah, I mean, so it sounds like we don't have any evidence yet, technically. I mean, there's evidence, but there's not. We haven't got an image of him. I mean, we have.
Well, he's admitted that they had sexual relations.
Yeah, but not at a young age.
No, and both, like, that's been clear. There's no accusations that there's no.
Well, no, there's definitely accusations that he groomed him.
No, yeah, groomed him, but there's no accusations that anything happened with him, but until he was an adult.
I mean, there's definitely implications.
The only issue was that he met him when he was younger, and that he got him a job helped to facilitate getting him a job.
His situation with his brother as well.
Yeah,
because his brother's just had a court case for being a paedophile.
Yeah, been found guilty of being a nonce.
And he's had testimony where he had to admit that his brother confessed to him early on, and he basically just told him to keep it to himself and stop doing it.
See, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I said to you before, I've not really taken a lot of it in because, as cruel as it sounds, I don't really care about it.
No, I get that. I'm not a morning TV person. I never have been.
He may well have groomed.
I was taken by surprise about it, if I'm being honest.
But equally, there's every chance, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, just to be clear. Okay, I'm not saying like I support. I don't want people piling in and being like, he supports fucking grooming. He thinks, Just want to be clear. There's every chance that this lad met Phillip Schofield when he was a youngster.
Yeah.
Phillip was really nice to him, got him a job,
yeah.
helped him out, really helped his career, kickstarted his career, whatever. And when he reached, because apparently the alleged age that they hooked up was 20, that this kid was 20 before they had any sexual contact. There's every chance that at that age, that kid, he's gone through his own journey of like sexual discovery and stuff, and he's thought, you know what? I fancy a bit of Phil Schofield. He's always been really nice to me. Yeah. He's a good-looking chap. I fancy a bit of it, and made that decision. And then obviously, all right, But then, in my opinion, that's not necessarily grooming. If there was never an intention from Phillip Schofield's side, we don't know who initiated what.
Yeah, without more details.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Look, there is a part of me as a man that feels uncomfortable with the idea that an older man can't have a relationship with a younger man without there being something dodgy involved.
Do you think homophobia plays a part in the reason that this has gained such traction?
No, I don't. I think it's a systemic issue in this country of people in powerful positions.
See, I'm going to say
abusing that position of power, particularly with minors.
I do think homophobia has played a part in it, because I think there have been a number of stories in the past where television personalities in particular and celebrities as a whole have hooked up with younger women, and there has been a story about it, but it's not been like a massive few, even though they've been accused of grooming them, and they've been accused of trying to treat them nice and abuse their power of celebrity. But it kind of washes away after a couple of years. Or not even a couple of years, it kind of washes away. I do think it's played a small part. I'm saying a small part, but I do think that.
The way I think it would more be about homophobia for me is the way it links in the issue of people in powerful positions abusing minors comes from a similar place that priests doing it does. In the sense of, if you were someone like Phillip Schofield, who was gay, coming up in the entertainment industry in the time that he did, being gay wasn't an option really. So when there is a mental thing that happens to people where they then become, like with priests, they have to be celibate, so it sexually represses them. And this isn't a defence of priests, by the way, it's just what I've listened to in terms of psychologically what happens to these people, where they become sexually repressed and use their position to abuse younger people. It's a simplification, but it's
I know what you're
roughly what happens. So I feel like it feels like a pattern's emerging of these
sexually repressed people,
who
weren't living authentic lives, who weren't
abusing
being honest
people. Now that's not an excuse for Phillip Schofield, and we don't necessarily know that is what's happened, but that's where I feel like homophobia would come into it for me.
Well, I think as well the homophobia right now, we're seeing a lot of anti-LGBT rhetoric and narrative.
Yes.
And the Phillip Schofield, if Phillip Schofield did groom this boy, it 100%.
But I don't think that's why it's blown up.
But it 100%. The reason that they're able to keep perpetuating it, the papers and stuff, and keep going, look at it, is because it supports their idea that gay people are groomers.
Yes.
And they're going to keep bigging it up.
That are doing that.
They're going to keep bigging it up because it's like, look, we told you. They're not necessarily saying that now, but I think down the line we will 100% hear. Well, look at Phillip Schofield.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There'll definitely be parts I could see someone doing that on GB News. Do you know what I mean? I could see that being an opinion someone holds. But I feel like with the Schofield thing, part of it started in terms of, because I'm uncomfortable with some of the behaviour of other media personalities and how desperate they've been to tear him down and to sort of stick it into him. And there's some murky stuff in that, like the most prominent one, and we've got some clips to play of it.
Yes, please.
Is Eamon Holmes. Should I just start with the clips
can
first?
I just say before this, two things. One, if it turns out that Phillip Schofield did actually groom this child, he did actually, help him get his foot in the door and do all that really nice stuff for him with the intention of one day leading to a relationship, or at least leading to a favourable position, then I absolutely do condemn that, and I think that's 100%
agreed,
wrong, and he should face the full punishment for it. Secondly, for me, it's quite Jimmy Savile in the sense that, and that will become clearer, by the way, that's a hell of a statement, I appreciate, but in the sense that there's a lot of people now coming out going, I told you all, and it's like, oh no, not I told you, it's like, I'm so glad I can finally tell you all, and it's like, right, you do realise how this is bad on you, because you knew something bad was happening, you knew an underage boy was being groomed, and you chose to say nothing. Even if there was an injunction, you take that hit. For the moral high ground, you face those legal repercussions, you take that hit for trying to save that, trying to help that boy, trying to save that boy, and trying to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone else. You don't get to come out and go, I knew he was, it's like, and that was happening with Jimmy Savile. Like, everyone was coming and going, we all knew. It's
with
like,
the Eamon Holmes thing, like, what I felt really uncomfortable with was the fact that I watched a clip this morning of him coming out as gay, not Eamon Holmes, Phillip Schofield. But do you know who introduced that segment?
Eamon Holmes.
Him and
then
missus.
they hugged. Yeah, and then they hugged and
cried
cried about it.
You don't get to come out afterwards and say, I knew he was a wrong'un, I knew he was doing bad shit. Everyone at ITV did. And be someone who was sat there introducing the segment that he was coming out as gay, which is allegedly part of the whole cover-up.
And then crying and hugging and...
You can't do that. So for me, like, whether Eamon Holmes did know what was going on, he just has no credibility at all. He looks like...
For me...
He looks like someone who's just a jilted ex-lover.
It damages you. If someone comes out and says, I knew that something was going wrong, and you're telling me now?
Yeah.
That doesn't work in your favour.
Yeah.
That doesn't distance you.
But yet people don't seem to be talking about that.
That makes you complicit.
Because at the moment, the attention...
That makes you an accessory.
Rightfully so, if he is guilty, is on Phillip Schofield. But I find it really icky that Eamon Holmes is quite happy to sit on television.
The reason I saw the clip that we're about to play was it was shared on a channel called... Or both of the clips, if we play both the clips, they're relatively short clips, was on a channel called Accidental Partridge, which just takes real-world examples of people... acting like Alan Partridge, and for me, this clip or these clips are 100% Alan Partridge. If you know Alan Partridge,
right? Let's turn this up.
Presenters of which I'm more senior than he is.
Start from the beginning.
And the other thing is, can I just say on behalf of established senior presenters of which I'm more senior than he is, he's not rated. So. Why we all wonder why, when you look and you say who are magnificent presenters, Gabby Logan, Desmond Lynham, Jeff Stelling, you can go on, Dan Walker, you can look at people who are really, really good at what they do, and you go and you ask and you say, what about Schofield? Nobody rates him. He can't read autocue. He's big wide eyes. He shouts when he speaks like that. He's rude to everybody around him. As has been, Nadine Dorris has talked about this as well, and various other people on your program.
Why were they out to protect him?
Why? This is the question you've got to ask.
Why didn't he ask Eamon that?
Oh my God! Right, okay. Let's start at the beginning. From from trusted senior presenters, of which I am one of them. Brilliant. Where you're off to a great start for me on that front. And then also, who calls him Desmond Lynham? It's Des Lynam. It's always been Des Lynam. Who calls
Des
him
Lynam.
Desmond?
Lynam?
Yeah, Lynam.
Lynam.
Yeah, he used to present Match of the Day.
Yeah.
Who calls him Desmond? No one. And then this whole thing, his big eyes. What have he done? What?
His wide
Where's that
eyes.
coming to? Look, okay, look.
Well, felt slightly racial.
Look. Can't read auto cue. Great, yeah. For what he does, that's quite an important part of his job. I appreciate that. That's a fair criticism. Big eyes. Sorry, what?
The thing is, he just comes across
As a bitter, jilted ex. Yeah, 100% right.
Because the
You
thing
are
is,
absolutely
basically,
right.
what happened was Philip and Holly went massive, and he didn't like it because it meant he got pushed to one side, and he now works for GB News.
And it's
So he's
just
just
so-
really upset
It's
about
just
it.
so funny him listing other presenters and then just, going like, they don't rate him.
I'm shocked he didn't name himself. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's
Eamon Holmes, and actually say Eamon
as
Holmes.
a senior presenter, he is, of which he is a senior presenter. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic. Do you want to play the other one?
yeah. Let me get it loaded up.
Again, just pure partridge.
Let me pause it. Turn the volume back up.
You can't believe a word he says. I believe his career, you ask me, is my career finished in TV? I wouldn't like to think so. I think people would like to look at me and think, look, I mightn't like Eamon Holmes as a presenter, but I can trust him. And I think he's telling the truth here. And I think he's an honest, honourable man. Phillip Schofield, if you think that about him, I think you're a bit deluded.
And then you couple that with the fact that he, like you said, did the coming out segment.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And you're saying
Come
everyone
on.
knew about it.
Come on.
The thing is, and in all of this, I
Is
want to make something
my
clear.
career over?
We are
I don't think so.
no
Yes, it is,
way
Eamon. You're on GB News.
on Schofield's side. We're just pointing out the hypocritical bullshit and quite pettiness.
It is
The pet-
petty.
it
It is
is.
petty.
And the thing is, it just smacks of desperation to be
The
relevant.
best way for me to handle it is to come out and go, even if you did know, let's say, is to come out and
If
there's
I
no
knew
way
and
around
done
it if
nothing,
you knew.
you
Yeah,
keep
there's
your
no way
fucking
around it.
head
You say
down and your
nothing.
mouth
But if
shut.
you didn't know, you come out and say, look,
You
I'm
don't
really...
get to choose now to speak up. You don't get to choose now.
Yeah, you say, I'm
to
really
have
appalled.
principles.
If what happened, I'm really appalled. And
Yeah.
I clearly didn't know the man that I thought I knew.
Yeah.
And then you leave it at that. You don't come out going,
Because apparently Alison Hammond cried about it.
Yeah,
on
she
television.
said she was really conflicted because she sees
she has an image in her head of who
she
he
sees
is.
she sees the This Morning team as a family, and she said, and for her, Phil is part of that family. So,
Yeah.
to be really conflicted between the show and the thing and what he's allegedly done and that stuff. So she was quite.
Do you think it's true?
I think, like I said, it was. I don't think he groomed. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know.
No, we don't know. We don't have
But
enough
based on what I've
information.
seen and that, I don't think he groomed him. But I do think that they'd obviously. They reached a point when the kid was, like I said, he was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And there was obviously a bit of a spark there. And I think it was a very ill-advised move to enter and engage in a relationship with him.
Yeah.
But at that point, obviously the moral question is over the grooming, but at that point, no rules have been broken because they're both of legal age
If that's what the case is,
consenting age.
yeah.
And it seems to have been very consensual. Obviously, the question is, well, was he coerced from a young age and co-opted into thinking it was what he wanted? But it seemed to be a consensual, mutual relationship.
I think for me, on a moral level, whether he's guilty of it being underage or overage, it's a murky fucking situation to get yourself into. Because for me, with all the stuff I've listened to, he's either the unluckiest guy in the world that all these things sort of happened at the same time, like what happened with his brother, him coming out as gay. It all feels a bit like...
When he came out...
A lot of it feels managed and strategic, so it could either be he was just looking after his image or... and he isn't guilty of doing anything massively untoward, but I don't know. And his response since, I don't know, if it all feels poorly handled, and I don't know whether that's because he is guilty.
Listen, with people in the celebrity world, but TV more than any other, more than musicians, more than actors, TV more than anyone, because with actors and musicians, there's kind of an art there that people enjoy, whereas with TV personalities, it's you.
Yeah.
You're the kind of selling point. It's a little bit different, I think. So I think with them more than anything, you have to, in my opinion, everything they do publicly,
Mm.
everything they do that you see them doing is planned. It's
Yeah.
deliberate. It's because the publicist thinks that's okay for you to do.
Yeah.
That's not okay for you to do. So when he came out as gay, there was part of me that thought, and I thought it was just someone was just going to out him. I thought that was what the.
Yeah,
I did think
I thought
you're
it was
trying
just,
to you're trying to get ahead of a story. A story
yeah,
is brewing.
I don't remember why he did it. Looking back, to be honest with you, and I don't remember having any thoughts of why
It's like
he was doing it.
For me, it felt at the time it's like something's brewing behind in the papers,
yeah.
and you're trying to get out ahead of it.
See, I just took it as he'd hit a point where he couldn't not.
Yeah, I have
identify.
a very cynical view of people
Yeah,
in public life
and as
like
I've
that.
said previously, I'm quite naive when it comes to these things, and I was really taken off guard by the whole situation in general. I didn't expect it. He'd always come across as quite a nice guy in everything I'd seen him in. And I think probably what started off people turning against him and has probably added to
Them fucking ads.
the piling on. Not the ads.
He was everywhere.
It was the queue jumping.
Oh, the queue jumping. That was so funny.
I think that in general made the people turn against, because it's one thing you do not do.
Private
in Britain,
Eye did a joke on that recently, a throwback joke to that.
Yeah, that you don't
They
queue
said
jump
that
in this country.
in light of Philip.
And it was look, arguably it will be the most historic event of one of the most historic events of our lifetimes.
The
In
funny thing
terms
is
of,
they didn't even queue jump. It's the funniest thing.
no, but where's the documentary? But that's it's a good point.
No, it's a segment for this morning,
Yeah.
which they did do.
Mm.
But
Well,
no.
they claimed it was a documentary they were filming.
Oh, did they claim it was a
Yes.
documentary? Oh, I thought it was a segment on this
no,
morning.
apparently it was a
'Cause they did do a
documentary they
bit.
were filming, and the documentary's never.
But the funny thing, yeah.
But I think that is the moment of.
Private Eye
What?
did a thing, they said in light of Philip's recently changing career choices, the job centre's introduced a no queue jumping policy.
But yeah, I think that turned people against them.
It didn't help.
And I think, yeah, there's definitely going to be an aspect of homophobia in there.
What a mental thing, by the way, that I love, that the thing that brought down the Tory BBC attack on the left wing was that they turned their attention to football, and we all went, no. And the thing that brought down an entire allegedly grooming
Yeah.
scheme was that they jumped a queue. It's so British. They were like, listen, mate, we don't
We'll
mind
tolerate a
we
lot
don't
of
mind the
stuff in this
paedophilia and we don't
country.
mind the anti-immigration
Well,
stuff.
look,
but
a question I was
You
going
don't
to
touch
ask
match
you
the day and you don't jump a queue.
is, what does it say about our society? And I can't decide sometimes who's responsible for these things. Like, in terms of, are we too blind to it? Should we be noticing that some of these people are nonces and doing dodgy shit? But it's so prevalent.
It's a money thing.
What, just everyone's got their mouth on the tit and they can't afford to
While
lose
they're
it?
earning, yeah. You know, Philip and Holly were the most popular presenters
Yeah,
of
they
daytime
were,
television.
They were seen as national treasures
Ant
for a
and
while.
Dec did the night.
Yeah.
Holly and Phil did the day.
Yeah.
And they did everything. I mean, they did the NTAs, they did
Yeah.
all the... So, while everyone's earning out of it, no one wants to upset that cash cow. Genuinely, that's what I believe it comes down to.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's
you're
the
right.
same every time.
But,
As soon as an
but
artist...
what does it say about us that many people can turn
when
a
you
blind
see
eye? Because it's not just
artists-
one or two. They're surrounded by a lot of people, and then those people are surrounded
But
by a
when
lot
you
of
see
people.
artists who are outed as being wrong-uns, whether it's for something
It's
as
been
big
going on
as...
for a long time.
When it's something as big as like paedophilia and grooming, or whether it's something as little as like they fucking never paid their tax or something,
Yeah.
which arguably maybe isn't that little, but on the scale of like morality,
Yeah.
it's always, always, always as the artist is starting to decline in, you know, their album sales they're not at their peak. The
'Cause
movies,
suddenly the
they're no
media
longer,
knows it's something they
they're
can
no
run
longer
with.
the top of the bill on a movie poster. As soon as your name starts moving down that bill, that's when people feel that they can out you and get them, you know, they're like, oh, fuck it, let's,
Well, I
let's
guess they're
throw
right,
them under the
aren't
bus.
they? Well, they're right in a sense, aren't they? Because normally, if you go after these people when they're at the height of their powers, there's more people willing to.
But that's
do
what I think it
dodgy
comes
shit
down
to
to.
cover
That's
it
what I
up,
think.
yeah,
It's
I
just,
think
it's
you're
just a
probably
money
right.
thing.
But-
Soon as while everyone's earning, no one wants to rock that boat.
But what do we can't. Well, I don't know what we do about that.
No, because greedy people always find their way into the positions of
Yeah.
greediness.
And these people surround themselves with the types of people that are going to allow them to get away with it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, look, if Phil's found guilty of this, there's already questions about Holly Willoughby about what did she know?
What did she know? What didn't she know?
Yeah. And it's hard to believe that, again, someone that was with him for all of it, that was his best friend when he came out and, you know, was his rock. And I think that was literally the words they used. She was his rock. that she didn't know that this was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
She's done the smart thing though. Make one statement and then stay
and just,
quiet.
yeah, hide.
Because I've not seen her, I've not heard
No.
her. She's done the smart
No,
thing.
she's gonna hide for a long time.
Eamon Holmes,
I'd
like,
imagine.
fair enough. He's swinging for the back
He's
of the
swinging
field.
for the fences.
He's
Isn't
swinging for the fences. That's the term. Thank
Yeah.
you. He's swinging for the fences because let's be honest, he had nothing anyway. He
Yeah.
did not have a high-profile career left. He's
Yeah.
presenting on fucking GBBs. He's not.
No,
He's not at the top of his game. He's not even on a game.
no.
So it's all right for him to come out and go, I'm going to have a
I know,
crack at
and
getting
thing
back
is,
in the big
sad
time.
truth is, I feel like that's what. Do you think it's almost he's hoping like, come on, I dare you to bring me back. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like an
He's trying to
opportunity
get
for
relevant
relevance.
again.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I find that like that bit makes, and like we talked about it before the pod, there's a YouTuber or a Facebook sort of personality sort of thing, Jack Jones, and he re-released the footage of him celebrating 1 million subscribers, where in the background he had Phillip Schofield and what happens to be the lad that he's accused of grooming in the video, and people have been saying that's proof. And then he then used it as a platform to be like, I told you all, I've tried revealing this for years, and then, I'm there for the little guy. And then people reveal that he racially abused someone on the street.
Also, there was a picture of him arm in arm with Phillip Schofield, wasn't there? Like being all right, a thumbs up, buddy. It's like, yeah, mate. If I see a nonce and I know he's a nonce, what I'm not doing is stopping for a photo op.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what worries me about it though? Sometimes when so many people turn a blind eye, it does. Do you even for a second think about what you would do if you're in that situation? Because
I feel relatively confident that I would blow the whistle
to people. Do you know what I mean? No, I'd like to
like
think
I said,
I would.
with the field
I'd like
thing,
to think I would.
I'd need to know more before I blew a whistle.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that you hear, yeah, I feel relatively confident that
Yeah.
I blow a whistle because I do believe in the
and
moral
to be
code. I
honest
don't
with you,
believe
I'd like
that-
to think I wouldn't want to work in that environment if I knew it was going on. Do you know what I mean?
I would always have an asterisk over any success that I had.
That was going on.
That was
at the same
a
time.
building block in where I was, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be comfortable with that.
And also, these things always seem to come out eventually. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to be known for having been a part
And what
of
I
it
don't want to be
anyway.
is that guy that comes out and go, "Told you, I always knew."
No, never be that guy.
No, that's the worst position you can take. Well,
Yeah.
obviously the worst position you can take is to do the thing.
Yeah.
But
But
second
after
to that,
yeah, is to be the guy that knew what was going on and then brag about knowing it was
and
going
then
on
brag about not
afterwards.
doing anything, bragging about letting it going on, bragging about being
The people at
complicit.
ITV did nothing.
and being an
Where did you work
accomplice.
at the time,
Yeah.
Eamon? I mean, I did work for ITV.
Where?
Yeah.
Where?
Where?
That is the question.
Where were you, Eamon?
Where?
I was presenting.
It's so good though, those Eamon Holmes
Yeah.
bits. I fucking love them. Senior presenters, of which I am one of them.
But
Absolutely top notch.
while we're talking of noncing behaviour, there's a moment of celebration. And do you know what this is where I got, not this idea, but it sort of came from? There's a Scottish comedian called Daniel Sloss. I don't know if
Yes,
you've
I
watched
know
him.
Daniel Sloss.
I'm a big fan of
Burst
his.
onto the scene very young,
Yeah, like
and then very
17.
smartly stepped back away from the limelight and went, "I'm gonna go and hone the
just tours.
craft."
He just
and
tours.
just go and hone the
Just
craft.
tours.
Yeah.
But he was on a podcast I like called Have a Word, and he talks about he has bottles of sparkling in his house, whether it's Carver or someone's giving him champagne, and they write a name on it of someone they hate. And when that person dies, they
pop
pop
the
it
bottle.
and have a drink.
That's great.
So this is our version of that. Rolf Harris died.
No.
No, not a Rippers.
No,
Rippers
no, it's for good
is
people.
a honorific we give to people that we care about and that we appreciate.
No, we have an alternative.
We have a new alternative, and it's Rolf Harris.
Get stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
see what it is yet? Yes, Rolf.
Yeah. He's dead.
Criminal history and a lifetime of prison before the grave.
Yeah. That's what he deserved.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Who knew that that's what he was singing about when he was singing about two little boys all those years ago?
But now I think it's a great time as always. Shall we swerve back to what you wanted to talk about before, which was Royal Blood?
Oh, Royal Blood. It was just a great moment.
Yeah. Should I
Wasn't
play
The full clip, just so like, let's get it out there,
the
right?
clip that you... it's the one you sent me, so if that's the full one...
It's like a minute and a half,
Right.
but
let
it's
me-
so good. Have you seen this, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I have. It came... honestly, before I play it, I didn't think it was real.
Really?
I thought he was not. I knew he was on a stage saying that to people, but I thought at first it was sarcasm, and then I quickly realised, oh no, he's just genuinely, yeah. But yeah, I'll play it for you now. Turn the volume up.
Well, I guess I should introduce ourselves, seeing as no one actually knows who we are. We're called Royal Blood, and this is rock music. Who likes rock music?
I like rock music.
I mean, they are cheering.
9 people, brilliant. This is Ben Thatcher, he plays drums. Everybody say hi to Ben, please.
And for those who haven't seen the clip, the
We're
drummer
having to clap
spits his
ourselves
drink
because that
out
was
at
so
that point.
Expensive
Well
tequila.
done, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go back. Do that. He calls him pathetic.
Everybody say hi to Ben, please. We're having to clap ourselves because that was so pathetic. Well done, Ben.
Ben wasn't even clapping.
Oh, he was spitting.
Can you clap for us? Can you clap? You're busy. Can you clap? He's busy. Yes,
This is
even
the
he's
cameraman.
clapping. What does that say about you?
Oh, is that who the guy was that was clapping?
And then they walk away.
With 2 middle fingers up in the air.
Yeah. Now, can I
Right.
just say, first of all, if I was at a festival and I got that, like, you heard the crowd,
Yeah.
I'd be
they
quite
were
happy
loud.
with that.
Yeah.
I'd be well happy with that.
Honestly, and I tried to think about it, it is one of the most self-entitled things I've ever seen someone do.
The funniest thing is like, they would have known the demographic of a Radio 1
Yeah.
big weekender when they booked the fucking gig.
Yeah.
So, like, their placement, just to be clear, they were on the stage between, I don't know if you know this, but they came after Niall Horan of One Direction fame,
Yeah.
and they came before Lewis
That
Capaldi.
was it, yeah.
So, all right, you might not have known the lineup, but you'd have known the kind of acts that
Well,
were
actually,
on the gig.
they were the last act that was booked for the festival.
But
so
exactly,
they
so
would
you'd
have
have known
known
who
going
was
in.
on, so you'd have known what the
100% would
demographic
have
is.
known going in.
And what I really liked is it sparked this outrage, this discussion of acts and artists coming out. Not your A-list acts, I'll appreciate that. People who were in bands in like the 80s and the 90s who were kind of faded to obscurity a little bit, talking about gigs where they clearly weren't wanted,
Yeah.
and they either won round the crowd or tried to win round the crowd,
Yeah.
or they just had fun with it and went, boys, we're getting paid either way.
Yeah.
No one cares.
No.
Just fucking have fun with it. And
Yeah.
that's not what these boys did.
I actually saw one guy who, what was it? Yeah, that they went to the same festival previously, and Foo Fighters were on, and Foo Fighters were on before Tay Tay.
Oh yeah, thanks for, and she was like, thanks for being my warm-up act or whatever.
Yeah, and apparently
Was that a Radio 1 gig?
it was the same festival.
A Radio 1
It was
big
the
weekend.
same festival. And the Foo Fighters won over the crowd.
Yeah.
They said the crowd was all there for Taylor Swift, but Dave Grohl won
Yeah, you
them
just
round.
kept going.
Yeah, you like get them involved. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
perform.
It's what you do. Like if we were in a band
how,
and we were at a festival
how
that we weren't
self-indulgent have
wanted.
you got to be to show up to every gig thinking everyone's going to love you?
This is rock music.
Um,
You guys clearly don't like.
and also,
Like I
like,
said,
look,
They
rock,
made an okay sound.
rock isn't as popular as pop music. It's not going to be. It's what, pop music's popular music.
Yeah.
And like, look, they're not a household name. I've heard of Royal Blood. I've never listened
Say
to
I
a single
like
one
Royal.
of their
I was
songs.
really upset because I like Royal Blood, and I was
but
like,
I
fuck.
actually remember, I think you might have been disappointed at the time. Originally, the opening act for the Foo Fighters for the show we went to, I think was going to be Royal
Oh yeah,
Blood.
but they'd just broken on, and they'd kind of was like,
Or I think they went on to tour with them, but they just couldn't make the first night. So then it went to like Iggy Pop, and then I think we had
Kaiser Chiefs.
So we would have seen them that night.
Yeah, and I quite like. I was quite looking forward
But
to
also, can a band be a two-piece? Is
that.
that
No.
a thing?
But okay, so this is the thing with them. When I first heard it,
Yeah.
when I first heard them on the radio, and someone was like, "Oh, they're like a two-piece," I was like, "Well, they're not like obviously they get."
No, it's
But when you
literally just
watch
the two
it
of
and you
them.
watch them live and that, no, it is, and the sound they get out of that, because he has like a 5-string bass and he kind of distorts the fuck out of it,
Yeah.
so that you kind of get, and he plays these like great riffs, and he has like hits the bass note, plays a riff.
I'll have
and,
to
like,
listen. Well,
like-
actually, I don't know.
but genuinely, the music I really like. I think you'd enjoy them. I do think there's a couple of songs.
I know,
that
but
could
because I
recommend.
haven't listened to their music yet, to go and listen to it now, having the opinion of them
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
would be quite difficult.
I was so upset because it was oh.
And also, a lot of my opinion on an artist is based off of how they are
I mean,
live.
me and Alan were talking about going to see them. Like we were like, we were talking. We were
well, like,
in the car
look,
one
you
day,
might
and
be
we
able
were,
to get cheaper tickets now.
we were playing Royal Blood, and I was like, we were both talking about how we really, how we like them. We were like, I bet they're great. Obviously, we know now they're not, but we like, I bet they're great live. Turns out they are. If you
And
like being
look,
insulted.
I know everyone has an off day. Like they
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him that day. He could have got some really shitty news, And also, I've watched a lot of like behind the scenes stuff of like tours the Foo Fighters have been on and stuff like that, and listened to them talk about it. It can be a grind, and it's quite a difficult existence if you're on a heavy tour schedule.
It's just one of them as well.
It's what leads to a lot of alcoholism and drug abuse.
I mean, I would love festival season as a touring artist.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
I would not.
To be at that level
my
as well.
plan would be not book myself in too many festivals, so we're literally flying here.
Yeah.
So you kind of like on a couple of weeks, off a week, on a couple of weeks, off a week. And I just stick around and I just watch the other acts and I just enjoy being there.
Because I know what me and you would be like, say, like we were a 2-piece band and, you know, we're smashing it out there. We'd actually be really excited to meet Niall Horan or Lewis Capaldi.
100%.
I think personally, this is what I think they are like. I think they have some sort of chip on their shoulder, being, I don't know, 2 white guys in rock and roll
and
on
like
their
those,
own.
and like those.
I think they probably don't think they get the appreciation they should. I think they probably look down on other forms of music. I think because they, as you describing, more experimental rock music with just 2 people. I think they probably have like an attitude of perhaps superiority.
Yeah.
So they see Niall Horan and go, oh, well, he was just in a boy band. Don't, you know, rate him. Oh, Lewis Capaldi, he's just a pop singer or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
But it's taking it out on the fans and saying, like, you guys. But
well, I think, again, they see themselves as above the people in that
I don't know what the acoustics are or what he's
audience.
hearing, but that audience sounded fine.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't, like,
they seemed
quiet.
up for it. They were quite excited.
It's
They're
like,
all
make some
cheering.
noise. Yeah, the noise levels
and
went
even
up.
when he's knobbing them off,
yeah, they're still
I don't
like,
hear anyone booing. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like wanker signing in and cunting
how
off.
long before, like, if you were Lewis Capaldi,
Yeah.
would you, I mean, I would open up on, I'd say, I'm Lewis Capaldi and this is rock music.
Or this is pop music. Or
Oh,
whatever he
yeah,
wants to say.
100% I'd come out.
100%.
Be like, am I going to have to clap myself or what? Do you know what I mean? I'd be
Yeah.
straight in there
Make
with
a
it.
joke out of it.
Straight in there.
For all we know, he probably did.
Yeah.
He's that sort of guy.
No, I'm looking forward to that's on my list, the Tender Festival,
Yeah.
on my list of things to do. And I'm really happy as well because I'm.
What's weird, they have shown, I found online today, like a level of self-awareness. Like apparently when BLM was going on, and this was their exact words, the truth is we are 2 white males adopting and basking in the entire genre created by black culture and black musicians.
But does that also not scream of we're superior and we're smarter
That's
than
what
you?
I'm
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, is that what you were angling at?
Yeah, like they have, it feels like a little bit of self-awareness, but only in the sense of, but we are superior to everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a good look. And I don't really know how you
Guys, we're taking the moral high ground
come
here.
back from that. And like, I think there's been lots of evidence over the years of artists who are able to just take an audience and get something out of them. Like Live Aid, Freddie Mercury didn't know going in that he was going to get the like he wanted that reaction, but there was no guarantee of it. He just pulled it off. Do you know what I mean? You just go out there and get on with it. And if it's a shit gig, it's a shit gig. You're still minted. You're still touring festivals. You're still fucking smashing it in a lot of regards. There's been a lot of rock bands out there that would have loved to be in the position
it's the
they
same
were
with
in.
like,
and I think that's the perspective people, when they get to a certain level, lose. And
it's
I
the
think
same
that's
with like
problem.
comedians, isn't it though? Because most comedians, it's only when you reach a certain level that you tour on your own. Generally, you're on the bill with 2 other people.
Yeah.
And so, or 3 other people, because you've got like
Yeah.
a compare. And like, yeah, sometimes you're going to follow someone who's either really good or has a really particular brand.
Yeah.
You've just got to keep doing your thing and win the crowd
And
round.
I've listened to a lot of comedians talk about their process and what actually a bad gig gives them. And it's part of the process, man. It teaches you how to handle that situation next time. If you're on a poppy bill, you know, all right, well, maybe this is the set we do, or this is the approach. Do you know what I mean? You learn something from it. I think to just, I don't know, walk off the
think I
stage
could
with 2
imagine-
middle. That's the bit that,
Look.
if he'd have just done the whole slagging them off thing,
and then play the song.
it was the middle fingers. That's so disrespectful.
If we, I
Those
think
people have paid to be there.
it's going to make us sound so arrogant. It's going to make me sound superior, which is exactly what we're accusing Royal Blood of.
Yeah.
But I feel like if me and you were in like a 2-piece and we would doing a gig and the crowd clearly weren't there for us and we
Yeah.
weren't winning them over,
Yeah.
I would imagine we would just look at each other.
And be like, fuck it, let's
Even
enjoy
if we
this.
even if we called it and went, this ain't going away, let's just walk away.
Yeah.
We'd have just walked off, and we wouldn't have dwelled on it. We'd have just
At
gone,
the end, I'd have just said, thanks for having us. We had a great time. Have a great
yeah,
night.
sorry you didn't.
Yeah,
And then,
that would be it.
I might make some passive aggressive comment. Yeah, like I'm not going to lie.
No, but you're not going to walk off. With
No, but I'm not.
I'd
gonna
like to
slag them
think
off.
we actually wouldn't do the say what he said either.
No.
Not in the tone he did anyway.
No, and then we'd just walk off, and then I think we'd both look at each other and have that moment where we go, well, that weren't a great gig.
Yeah.
And then just...
I'd have a shot of something and be like, let's go meet some people. Do you know what I mean?
And I want that backstage vibe. Like,
yeah.
I saw a clip of some of the cast of Ted Lasso talking about they went to a gig.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, I'm sitting there talking to, and it was already someone pretty famous, and he was like,
Yeah.
this is pretty mental. And he said, and the hands on the shoulders start going, he's like, oh, who the fuck's touching me up? And it's Paul McCartney, and he's like, this is insane. I'm talking to one famous person, while fucking Paul McCartney's like casually rubbing my shoulders, just joining in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the backstage
That's
vibe.
how it should be, though.
Yeah.
That's
And it
100%
was,
how
they
it
weren't
should
the
be.
same genre. Like, there was a mix of genres there.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a bit of a...
And I think that's one of the
arrogance.
reasons, and I know I like to pick up the Foo Fighters, why I'm such a big fan of Dave Grohl, because he's very open to like, this person does something different, but they're still a
And
talented
let's be fair,
artist.
he's had probably the worst year someone could have.
Yeah, since
personally.
and
His mum.
And his
And his mum died in this year
passed
as well.
away.
So
I
in the
didn't
same
hear that.
12-month period,
Oh shit!
his
Virginia is
his best
mum's-
friend and his mum have both passed away.
Oh,
So you've
shit.
got to feel that that's,
Yeah.
you know,
They've chosen a new drummer as well, haven't they?
yeah, they announced
I
it the
can't
other week,
remember his
didn't they?
name now.
Have you heard any of the new album? Presumably you have.
No, I haven't actually.
Have you
I've
not?
heard it's coming out.
I've
but I
heard
haven't
4
actually.
songs.
Okay.
I really like, so Rescue
Okay.
Me, or whatever it's called. At first I kind of was like, meh, but it's grown on me. I really like
Yeah.
it. Under You, I really like. It kind of feels like a pop punky thing.
Okay.
And look, the vibe to all of them is exactly the same. It's loss. I thought you and I were going to be like friends forever. I thought we
Yeah.
were going to have each other forever, but then one day you were gone. That's
Yeah.
like the lyrical theme to every single one of these songs.
And it's not the first time it's happened to him either.
The Teacher, I didn't even finish. It's 10 minutes long.
Really?
And I'm not going to lie, I got to about 6 minutes, and this is going to sound really bad. So I was laying on my bed listening to it, and then I woke up and realised that I'd fallen asleep
Yeah.
around about the 6 or 7 minute mark.
Yeah.
So I've not heard that in its entirety.
Okay. Is it actually out yet, the full album?
I think so. Well, all I know is on a radio station, Toby Tarrant, which gives away the radio station, on
Yeah.
Radio X, Toby Tarrant sat and played the album in its entirety
Yeah.
one morning because he was like, why don't we enjoy it together?
Yes, I heard he was doing that.
And I thought about doing it, but I couldn't because of work and
Yeah.
stuff, so I couldn't quite work it. But I was like, that would actually be quite a nice way to hear the album.
Yeah. I like Toby Tarrant. I've heard him on podcasts and stuff. He seems like quite a solid player.
Yeah, he is. My favorite. One of the things I really like about Toby Tarrant is he really leans into the nepotism. Like he doesn't shy away from it.
To be honest, though, you've sort of got to, haven't
Absolutely, he doesn't shy away from it. It's like, actually, I've got the. He will say, he's like, I have no talent. He's like, I'm the least talented person in that
Yeah.
building. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. If my dad wasn't who he was,
you?
I would never have a
job,
career.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I sort of respect that. If you're going to be a nepo baby, you've got to go with
You've
it.
got to own it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
Do you think Royal Blood will have nepo babies?
Oh.
If they did, they'd be the kind of nepo babies that go, actually,
They'd
we got
hate
here on our own
themselves at the
talent.
same time.
Yeah, we're actually here because we're good.
Yeah.
It's got
Not
nothing to
'cause
do
our
with who our
were
dads are.
successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It must be hard being a nepo baby, actually, in a way.
Because what? Because you'd always wonder, am I here because of them or am I here because of
Well,
what
yeah,
I'm
you're
doing?
never like. There's a comedian I like called Tom Horton, and his dad isn't a comedian, but he's the professional head of the military
Oh yeah, okay.
in this country. And his dad was like, when he retired, he had a carriage to Buckingham Palace. They lived in the Tower of London for a bit afterwards, and he's like, they asked him why didn't he go into the military, and he's like, well, first off, I'm just not that sort of guy. But he said also, I'm not going to get higher
No,
than my dad got. I'm not even going to get close to that. He said, and I'll get further because who
he is
my dad is,
yeah.
but I'm not going to get to. So yeah, it must be difficult in a sense.
Yeah,
Nice in
I
terms
still
of
like,
a
yeah,
privileged life,
an open
but difficult
door.
that your own
and a step up.
achievements might never even come close to where your parents was.
But no, I really like Toby Tarrant. There was a bit in so they were going to let one of the producers take a solo show for a little bit. So they were all going to leave the studio and just leave him in charge. So
Okay.
he was kind of like walking through the machines and what the buttons do.
Yeah,
And he was like, can I just say, I love this because this is the first time that I've ever been the more senior man.
yeah,
And it's the first time I've ever looked like I know what I'm doing.
yeah.
So thank you for at least picking up my ego
yeah.
and making me feel like I know what I'm doing on this job. And it's just, you've got to lean in with it,
Yeah, you do.
100%.
But I think, should we call time?
Yes, because do you know what? Can you hit a clap button?
Oh, I've got to go back to the first page. Yeah. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah. We've had to do that ourselves because I don't feel like we're getting enough energy
Yeah.
from the people listening.
Yeah, you're pathetic.
Yeah, pathetic. That's the great bit, isn't it?
Yeah, you're pathetic.
That's pathetic. Can you clap to the camera? Like turn to the cameraman. It's like, you can't clap because you're doing something, aren't you? Oh, but even you're clapping. Well done.
Yeah, when he said that, I didn't hear the cameraman bit. So one of my questions was, who's the guy that was clapping? Was it a one-armed vet, like smacking his chest or
it's
something?
the cameraman
It's the cameraman.
holding the
No.
camera.
How did
They're
he
like-
clap?
Um,
Did he just balance it on his shoulder and?
probably like that. It's a royal blood. Like, fuck you dragging me into this, you
Yeah.
sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I'm just here to do a job, man. I'm not here to mug off a crowd of like 30,000 people.
Well,
I don't even
speaking,
know how many people are in that crowd.
it was quite a few.
It's biggish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a festival.
Yeah.
Dundee, I think that was.
Well, speaking of biggish, we want to keep pumping those numbers up, and to do that, we need to drive people towards our channels. Jake, tell the people where to do that.
Well, why don't I? Why don't I? Because I feel that they'd appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to do it? No, they're pathetic. But I'll tell you anyway, and then you've got no excuses.
Yeah.
You can find us at Swords Crossing on Twitter, all of which will be available here, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can find us on YouTube by searching Crossing Swords in the name of the episode, or following the link in our bio, which you
Yep.
can find will be there all the time, ever present.
Every episode.
You can find us at CrossingSwords_podcast on both TikTok and Instagram. We'd really appreciate the follows on there. You don't even have to watch us. Just follow us.
Just slap a like on
Just
it.
slap a follow, slap a like. Takes 2 seconds. You don't know.
And subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, you big pathetic bitches. And do you know what?
Bet you love Margaret Thatcher, don't you?
I'm really
bastards?
inhabiting the fucking royal blood
Yeah.
arrogance.
It's worrying how
It's
quickly
it's
you've
really
assumed that
dangerous.
persona.
I've literally heard the clip and about.
Do you know what? Actually, they're
10
not that
minutes
bad.
later,
It's easily
do you
done.
know
Isn't
what?
it?
Yeah, the crowd were pretty shit. Like, they got to appreciate.
They were scum.
They didn't appreciate rock music.
Yeah.
The what is clearly the superior form of music, by the way.
Yeah.
So fuck those guys.
Yeah.
What did I do? I didn't do Facebook. We're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Just Crossing Swords. You can find us.
Yeah.
Please, wherever you listen, like, subscribe, follow. It makes a big difference to us and our numbers. And it makes a big difference to what we can keep doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what we're doing and maybe do it a bit
And
better in the
just,
future.
share the love. Share it with some people. People
Yeah, if
you
you
like,
see a
people
social
you don't
media
like.
post, share it, put it in a story, because in 24 hours it'll be gone, but you can put it on Instagram, put it in a story,
Yeah.
put it on other platforms that do stories. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
really a big...
And also
I've
let
kind
us
of
know what you
withdrawn
want
from
us to
social
talk
media.
about.
But yeah, they're there.
Scumbags.
Yeah, you scumbag. And you see, that's the other thing. I've withdrawn myself from social media, which again feeds quite an arrogant
Yeah.
mentality of like, I'm better
I'm
than you.
too good for
I am
social
better
media.
than you. Yeah, I understand how
Yeah.
bad it is, and I got myself off of it. Unlike you losers who are addicted to it. But if you are addicted to it, and you are a loser who's addicted to it, be addicted to our page as well. Include that in your addiction.
Yeah, why not? I'm all for people being addicted to sword crossing.
100%. And if you ever fancy a bit of sword crossing, we can do tutorials. And also you can email us, crossingswords19@gmail.com.
Yep.
Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us who you want us to get on. If there's anyone you want us to get on, by the way, just drop
We'll try. We tried
drop-
Joe Lycett. He wasn't.
like, drop
he
a
wasn't
link to their
biting,
profile.
scumbag.
If they've got social media, drop a link to it, send it to us. If they've got an email address, whatever, email it to us,
Yeah.
and we'll reach out and see if we can make something happen.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, right?
I'm on board.
That's probably the most comprehensively I've ever covered the end of
It is. It was quite well done. Quite smooth.
professional. And you know why I was able to do that well? Because I don't have big eyes,
No,
and
they're
I
not
don't shout
wide.
when I don't shout when I talk,
You are not wide-eyed.
and I don't shout when I talk.
No.
And can I read an autocue? Don't know, never tried, but probably.
I think I'd struggle. It'd have to
You
go at
would
a decent
fucking hell with
pace.
your eyes.
I'd have to wear my glasses.
You wouldn't even know what the autocue was.
I know it is. It's like a screen.
Yeah, but it would have to.
Thing.
It would have to be like here.
It looks like Star Wars, doesn't it?
It would have to be here for you to be able to even see
I'm
it.
not that blind.
Bro, your eyes are bad.
They're getting worse, but that's because I'm getting old.
It's also because you you kind of didn't wear glasses for quite a while.
I wear them
you
when I
should
have to wear them.
But it took you a while to even go and get them.
Yeah, but that's just
That's
bone
mad, yeah.
idleness. That's not a reluctance to have glasses. The reason I don't wear them as much now is because the optician said to me, only wear them when you need them, because otherwise your eyes will get more dependent.
No, it's good. It's good.
So,
It's a good message.
Right, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.